Welcome to the Panic Room, where we talk about all things panic-inducing. I am the Queen of Panic. Warning, some episodes may contain content that may be disturbing to others. Viewer discretion is advised. Now let the games begin.
Valentine's Day is in a few days, and I'm afraid of what's to come. I need a place to tell my story, to warn others. No one else can do anything, but maybe I can help someone else out there. And well, I want to tell my story before it's maybe too late for me to. When I first started at university, I wasn't sure how I would feel about sharing a dorm room with a roommate. It turns out it was quite a positive experience for me. There are a lot of upsides. One I didn't expect was how it would bring me out of what my parents called, shell. I was able to make friends fast, which was usually difficult for me. Katie, my roommate, has been awesome. She's chill and we get along great. Aside from her need to have her boyfriend over constantly and not warn me until I get back to the dorm, I've enjoyed my time here. Katie and her messy, hastily written notes telling me when I can come back to the dorms were the only real issue. So when I saw one taped to the door a couple of weeks ago, I felt nothing but annoyance and pure exhaustion. It was late, I had a long day of classes, and then a long study session at the library after. All I wanted to do was collapse into my bed. I mean, really, it's 2022. She could at least text me. Why does she take the time to write a note and tape it to the door instead of firing off a quick text message? At least I'd know before I got all the way back home and can figure out something else for however long I needed to. This note was different, though. When I picked it up, it was heavier than usual. I opened it to find an actual letter. Something neat and thought out that had a small bag wrapped in lovely heart-covered wrapping paper. I thought it must have been for Katie, an early Valentine from her boyfriend or something. It felt intimate, like I shouldn't be holding it, and I wanted to put it back down. And I went to, but that's when I noticed my name at top. It was addressed to me. This letter was for me, and certainly not for Katie like I was expecting.
Hailey, I've been a little too shy to tell you how I feel, so I'm writing you this instead. Maybe one day soon, I can do this in person. But for now, I just wanted you to know that I think you're amazing.
I had never gotten anything like it before. Sure, I had a boyfriend in high school, but that was short-lived and clumsy. Never anything like this. This was a total shock. I've gone on a few dates since I started school, but nothing more than that. And those people wouldn't be too shy to tell me anything. I had no clue who this letter could have possibly come from. There was no clue in the writing or on the letter, nothing to tip me off on who my admirer was. It was simply signed with a heart. When I walked through the door, Katie was already waggling her eyebrows at me. She teased me and practically purred a greeting.
Hey, lover girl.
Apparently, Katie had seen the letter when she got home from dinner, but she said it hadn't been there before that when she came back after lunch. She had looked at it and asked me what was in the bag. I hadn't even thought to open it, confusion and excitement still clouding my mind. I took the opportunity to open the bag and turn it over, so whatever was inside would fall out into my hand. Cinnamon hearts. The spicy cinnamon smell wafted to my nose the second I opened the bag. Katie teased me a bit more that night, wondering if I'd be sent some jewelry next, wondering who my secret Valentine could be. We were both stumped. The next morning, Katie and I went into the local coffee shop like I do every morning. It's been my ritual since I started school. I always grab a tea and bagel. That's where I met Ted. He goes to the community college close by and works at the coffee shop. We've become friends with him, of sorts. He even came over to help us set up and move some stuff that I didn't get shipped to me from my parents in time for the start of the school, so we had to try to do it ourselves. He volunteered to help and we see him every day. This day, though, I was on the lookout, my mind wrapped in the possibility of who could have sent me that letter and candy. I went to order and Ted told me my usual was already coming up. When I tried to pay, he said it was on him. He gave me a shy smile. I asked if he was sure and he said absolutely that it was on him. On the way out, I asked Katie if she thought the letter could be from Ted. She asked how I could even doubt it after the exchange we had just had. I suppose she was right and Ted was cute. I wasn't sure I wanted to come out and ask anyone about it though. The person who sent the letter was clearly shy. I didn't want to guess and get it wrong, make anything uncomfortable with anyone. Aside from telling Wendy, the girl I sit beside and talk to in my film class, I just ignored the letter. I figured if the person wanted to be known, they would make themselves known. I'd almost given up hope when I found another letter left at the cubicle I always study at in the library. This one caught me off guard. Whoever put it there knows I study in that very spot almost every day. Was it there all day and they just hoped I'd show up and that someone else wouldn't get it? That doesn't seem quite right. I felt uneasy then. I wanted to know who was sending these letters. This one read,
Hailey, will you be my Valentine?
Signed with another heart, another bag taped to the bottom filled with more cinnamon hearts. I showed the letter to Katie. She just said it was sweet. She told me to just confront Ted the next day when I was going to see him. I told her I wasn't sure, that it didn't feel quite right to just ask someone. She brushed me off. The next day when I didn't ask Ted, Katie jumped between us and asked herself.
Hey Ted, have you been the one sending the gorgeous Hailey here love letters? And if so, would you like to go out with her?
I was mortified by Katie.
Love letters?
Ted questioned her, looking between Katie and I.
Yeah, asking to be her Valentine and stuff? You want to be Hailey's Valentine?
Katie wouldn't give it up. Ted looked at me and nodded an empathetic yes coming from him. I was shocked. I told Ted I'd text him later. I wanted to get out of there, out of such a public area. It all felt wrong, but I was excited at the same time. Ted ended up texting me first that day. He asked if I'd like to go out that night. I agreed. I figured, why not? He was taking the time to make his feelings known, and he's nice and cute. I took the time to run to the store before I got ready, grabbing some cinnamon hearts to give him. It felt like a fitting present for the occasion. The date went well. I had fun. We were happy and planned to see each other again. Ted was sweet, and he confessed that he's liked me for a while, but didn't know how to tell me. When I gave him the cinnamon hearts, he thanked me, but he said he hates them. It seemed odd, but I didn't think much of it. After that, I started finding little heart bags filled with cinnamon hearts in random places. One time I even found one in my pillow. I was impressed with the effort Ted was going through. We did go out a few more times. We were really hitting it off. Everyone was happy to see me hanging out with the guy, and I was having fun too. One night we even ran into Wendy and a bunch of my film class friends at a movie opening. We all sat together and talked about movies. Ted kept up, and while some of it was over his head, he still seemed like he was enjoying himself. So when I got another letter, I was surprised.
Roses are red, violets are blue. Why don't you really see me when I'm talking to you?
I found this one in my bag, the one I carry around with me at school. It was possible Ted tucked it in when I saw him in the night before, but that doesn't make sense. Why would he do that? I've given him lots of attention, and this note has a whole different tone to it. I happened to find the letter while I was in film class. I opened it, and read it thinking it was some cute love note from Ted. I must have looked concerned. I felt it too. It was an odd note, scary even. Wendy leaned over to ask me if I was all right, so I told her about the notes and Ted, showed her this one. She was surprised to find out that I was dating Ted. She agreed it was scary and maybe I shouldn't see him anymore. She seemed worried and a little angry for me, and that made me worried and angry. What was going on? I had to ask him what was up with it. I went straight to the coffee shop after my next class to confront him. I knew he was working. When I got there, he wasn't there. His boss said he left an hour before, that he wasn't feeling well. I texted him, telling him I needed to talk to him, and went straight home to wait. I didn't get a response. I figured at first he was probably sleeping because he wasn't feeling well. Maybe he just felt bad about the note and didn't know how to talk to me about it. I gave him the night, tried to text a couple more times, but nothing. That morning I went to the coffee shop, as usual, expecting to find him, but he wasn't there. The owner was again. I asked him where Ted was, and he said he didn't know, that he hadn't showed up today, but that he was probably still sick. Why wouldn't anyone contact me? I felt so bad, though, at the same time. What could be so wrong with him all of a sudden? I didn't want to be narcissistic, but the timing was weird. It didn't feel right to me. Why right after he sent that note? He was fine the night before and had worked all day. It doesn't make sense why he wouldn't talk to me. I sent him another text telling him I wasn't mad about the note and that I'd like to still talk to him. I waited some more. Still no response. I was worried now. This wasn't like Ted. Usually he'd respond pretty quickly. His phone was always close by, like most people our age. I waited and awoke the next morning to a single cinnamon heart on my pillow. I know I didn't put it there, and Katie hadn't come home that night. Could it have been Ted? But that would mean he was in my room. I tried and call him again, went to the coffee shop. He still wasn't there. No one else seemed concerned. I went to his place and buzzed up. Again, no one answered. I waited until someone left the building so I could go up by myself. The place was quiet, eerily quiet, with no sounds coming from anywhere. I banged on his door, still no answer. I was scared. I didn't know what to do. I called the police and I told them that I was afraid that something happened to Ted. When they arrived at the building, I told them about the notes, how we started dating. I showed them to them, even that last one that was left for me. I told them about how I was afraid because Ted hadn't been to work and no one else was able to get a hold of him, that he won't answer his phone, texts, or door. The police didn't seem too interested. They said he was probably avoiding me because of the notes, but that they would check it out and make sure he was all right. They tried to knock themselves. They tried to call him. Nothing. They got in touch with his boss to confirm he hadn't called into work, and then contacted his parents to confirm they hadn't spoken to him. With that, they were able to get the building manager to let them in to check his place. The officer told me to stay back. I couldn't, though. Once he walked in, I followed. I needed to know what was going on. Everything in me told me something wasn't right here. Aside from the officer's footsteps, the place was silent. So very quiet. When the officer gasped from the bedroom, it made every hair on my body prickle and stand on attention. I ran over. The officer yelled for me to stay back. I didn't listen. I couldn't listen. There was Ted, very clearly not okay, hanging in his room. I went to the station to be questioned after that. They showed me the note that was left on his bed.
I'm sorry.
With a single cinnamon heart. The picture of that letter, of that heart, it broke me. They ruled it a suicide. I couldn't understand it. Why would he do that? I know now that it wasn't one, though. I got another letter today. I went to class, hoping to keep my mind off everything. I can't afford to fall behind. I sat alone. Wendy wasn't there. It was a bit of a relief because I didn't feel like talking to anyone. At the end of class, another friend we hang out with sometimes walked up to me and told me Wendy had left something for them to give me. That she was sorry she couldn't be here to give it to me herself. They told me that she had suddenly dropped out of school, some sort of family emergency.
No one will get in the way of us, Valentine.
When I brought the note to the police, they looked into Wendy, but all they could say was that no one named Wendy went to my school and hadn't in a few years. That whoever I sat beside in class must not have been using her real name. That, or she wasn't actually enrolled. They haven't been able to track her down. If you would like to submit your stories, please check out the Panic Within subreddit. I go over those stories that are submitted, and I go ahead and I narrate them. I say go over, but I narrate all of them. So if you're interested in something like that, go ahead and take a look in the description, and you'll find the link there. We also have a Discord. You can come and hang out and get spooky with me and other narrators. We post new content, up-and-coming videos, promotions, and we also just hang out and chat, and you can come and hang out with us there. If you're interested in that, link is also in the description below. And last but not least, if you are interested in doing a collab with the King of Panic or myself, you can absolutely reach out if you're another creator. You can do one on our channel. We can do one with you. We are completely open for collab as of right now. Looking for new stuff to do and very excited for anybody who reaches out. The best way to do that is through Twitter or Discord. I do check Instagram and I will get back. It just might take a little longer because I'm super bad at that, but I've been trying to be better. So if you do reach out there, even if it takes a couple days, I'll be there. But like I said, we're excited. So please definitely reach out and we're looking forward to it. And as always, thank you for visiting the Panic Room. You have successfully made it to the next portion of your tour. Please stay tuned for your next prompt. Click the like button and subscribe to receive notifications for when the next portion of your tour is ready to join. Thank you for watching. Don't let the panic drown you.